Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to my tribe. Please subscribe. And if you're coming back for another video, thank you so much for staying subscribed. Thank you so much for watching this video and watching the previous video. Everybody's welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned a thing or two, because my purpose is to impart information, to give you, to pour into your cup or to your knowledge of natural hair care knowledge, natural hair care, and hopefully like you pour into my cup as well. I've been away because academics come first, so like the other day I tweeted that I have to be a daughter, okay? I have to be a child of God. I have to be a sister, I have to be a cousin, I have to be a friend, I have to be a girlfriend, I have to be a content creator, I have to be a YouTuber. According as a winner. Because according as a winner, and unfortunately my YouTube was the one that suffered. But if you follow me on Instagram, I was busy Instagram. But without further ado, so today we'll be talking about trimming our hair, which is a very important step in our hair care routine. It is vital for keeping your hair hydrated or moisturized and ensuring that your hair grows and you retain length. Ironically, like, trimming is important because it ensures that your hair is healthy. It prevents split ends and it reduces or corrects split ends. It ensures that your split ends do not travel up your hair shaft, and it is the only way to correct your split ends. So what are split ends? So split ends are the frayed or your damaged parts or ends of your hair where, like, because your ends are the oldest part and the driest part of your hair, they are quite fragile and they are prone to damage from wear and tear. So from you combing your hair, from you brushing your hair, from you using heat, styling your hair, dyeing your hair, whatever you do, your ends are most likely, and they're usually the first part of your hair to get damaged. And also when you're not taking care of your own personal health, like your physical health, like drinking enough water and eating healthy, as well as when you're not taking care of the health of your hair. So like there are those weeks where it just gets busy, and August and Wednesday 1925, and it's been 84 years. You haven't sprayed it. You probably sprayed it like on that random Tuesday when you remember, like, oh shit, and then you sprayed it and then it never get there. So when those things happen, and from like physical damage, or like just you from styling your hair, you touching your hair, constantly playing your hair, your ends are usually the first part of your hair that gets damaged, and that will show damage. And usually this damage comes in the form of split ends, and there are different types of split ends. You get your basic Y split end, or it starts off small and then it travels up your hair shaft. Sometimes it can multiply and it becomes like the fork. It's called the fork. The other one is called the tree. It can also manifest in single knots or your single strand knots. When you find those single strands and you find a lot of them, that's usually a sign that you need to. And the thing about split ends is that they damage your hair and they cause your hair to become dry, because as the split travels up, it goes with the moisture or the hydration in your hair, and it also causes further damage, and it also prevents length retention. So that's why I say trimming your hair is a part of ensuring that your hair grows, so that you remove those split ends that prevent length retention, and to ensure that your hair overall is healthy. So you should trim your hair every 3 to 4 months, depending on the damage and also depending on your hair. So if you're someone that uses a lot of heat, or you like styling your hair, or you're quite playful with your hair, so you dye it more regularly, you don't mind using heat because you know how to use it safely and whatever, maybe every 3 to 4 months, or rather biannually, so every 6 months or every 8 months. So it always just depends. I can't say there's a fixed period that you have to trim your hair, but it all depends on you. At least trim your hair twice a year, at least twice a year. And you will know your hair when it's not feeling good. So the signs of you needing split ends. You get single strand knots. It's quite difficult to detangle your hair. It tangles very easily. You can't hold a style. Your hair is dry, always dry. And you actually feel, your ends will usually feel drier than the rest of your hair, rougher than the rest of your hair. If you're someone that blows out your hair, like blow dries or straightens your hair, you will see that your ends will usually be quite light than the rest of your hair. So how should you trim your hair? Preferably, rule number one to be a boss ass, bitch. Rule number one is to use a hair shear or hair scissor. You can get one at Discount, you can get one at Clicks. If there are men in your family or in your home, or you have a boyfriend or you have a friend that cuts their hair with a machine, I don't know what's it called, but this usually comes part of it, so I guess it is a hair scissor. But it's very important to use either a very, very sharp scissor that you can guarantee it's sharp, or to use a hair scissor. This ensures that you cut your hair sharply and there are no blunt ends, because normal scissor, like what I called it in my previous video, arts and craft scissor, because they're not very sharp or they're not quite as sharp, they can cause blunt ends, which then further damages your hair and can cause more split ends, or can just cause split ends in the remaining part of your hair. And because they can also cause your ends to be uneven. So a hair scissor, if you don't have a hair scissor, rather you wait it out than using a normal scissor, which can cause more damage. Unless your scissor is very, very sharp, then do it your boo. Usually when I cut my split ends, which I'm gonna insert a clip. So when I cut my ends, I usually cut my ends when they're in twists. So I will usually make my twist smaller than usual, just to have smaller sections that I can handle. If it is your first time cutting your own hair, I would advise that you keep your sections as small as possible that you can handle, and start cutting off small sections, so that you don't overcut. I can be scissor happy sometimes, which is bad, because then I just lose length instead of retaining length. But just start off cutting small until you feel, or you can see that the ends that are left are quite healthy, and cut in the same direction, just to ensure that you cut the same amount and you cut off, your ends look the same, or they are rather even. Or you can use low heat, so blow dry your hair, just to get your hair straight and stretched out. Or you could use the banding method, or thread your hair and leave your ends exposed, so you can see where your ends, and then cut that off. I'd also advise that you cut your split ends, you cut your hair or you trim your hair while it's dry rather than it's wet. I was watching Bush Baby Amy's video, and she was saying that cutting your hair wet is like trying to cut a piece of paper wet, which means you won't get a sharp cut, and it won't be, so you'll get a blunt cut, and you may also cut more hair than you intended, because usually your hair, when it's wet, it's in its shrunken state or in its most curly or coiled state. Make sure your hair is fully detangled or properly detangled before cutting your hair, so that you ensure that all the knots are out and all your hair stretched out. All your hair stretched out. Yes, all your hair stretched out. There's also a method called dusting. So dusting is just basically, or refers to cutting small portions of your hair, more regularly. So this is something you'll do maybe once a month when you're about to style your hair, or when you see that there are ends that are damaged, or you're having split ends and you find that random single knot. So you'll just simply cut that out instead of trimming large portions. Because when I trim my hair, I usually cut about a centimeter or half a centimeter, around about a centimeter. So when you dust, you probably remove just a very small portion of your hair. If you haven't trimmed your hair, please do it ASAP, because in as much as deep conditioners and pre-pooing and different oils or different leave-in treatments they say they do repair split ends, the only way to correct split ends is through trimming. Those deep conditioners only fill in those gaps, which is like a temporary fix. Eventually which is only a temporary fix, eventually you're gonna need to cut it off. It's like fake friends. You could be nice with them and give them all what they want, but eventually the relationship is gonna get toxic and you're gonna have to cut them off. So, the more you hold on to your split ends, the more they travel up your hair shaft and the more damage it can do. So if I were you, I'll cut my split ends. And yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, if you have any extra info, if you have any comments, please leave them down below. It's so good to be back, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It's short, sweet, simple. Love it, love it, love it, because it makes editing easier. But I'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. Stay tuned. I'm Santa for show. Bye. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.